Hello, good morning. Today we're going to watch the September 26th Devnotes vlog. I want to preface this with I'm actually really happy that we're getting a vlog instead of patch notes because I can put some names to faces, and that's always fun. So let's get right into it.
Hello, welcome to a video
Hi.
update of Video Horror Society. I'm Chris, the creative director at Hellbent.
And I'm Jeffrey Wong, the lead gameplay programmer designer.
Isn't that Lordly?
It's a much longer title than I do.
We stand bestie Hoshi Strut. I will constantly throw just to participate in Happerstrom's time.
We had done some announcements before on Discord, but recently people have been wondering what's going on with some of those things we announced a while back, and we thought we'd give an update where we are right now. It's a little faster than having to find Discord. So here we are, Jeff. A while back now, we talked about a number of systems we were updating in the game to try fix monster balance, to try fix the new player experience, to try fix a bunch of different things.
Some pain points that the community identified where we love the feed.
First off, great board game selection. Love the black shirts. Me and Lordly kind of matching. Glasses, black shirt, life. Love his earring here. I kind of want one.
We're trying to be as responsive as we can to those. So one of the things we talked about was our dynamic bounty system. So at the moment, players have been enjoying a fixed bounty system where playing as monster will give you flux now. So the reason we changed it from experience to flux is to incentivize team players who may not have tried monster to do so, in the hopes of also getting more flux so that they can enjoy
get the drip, yo,
from our endless summer catalog or the daily store. The idea is give something, a reason for everyone to try monster out. Ultimately, though, we would like the system to be fully dynamic, where it will give you a variable bounty based on the state of the matchmaking queue in your region and your current matchmaking rating, to try to make it so that you're optimally positioned to get the fastest queue times and get the games going. And that's by far one of our...
Hey, sub 5-minute queues both sides, peak VHS. I'm telling you, full release and crossplay will make it happen 100%, but if we can make it happen before that, that'd be even better.
Biggest improvements we want to do is have players always able to hop into a game quickly.
That's a much bigger system, which we're implementing.
Yes, we're still working on it.
It just takes a little longer. So we adjusted the current system to try to match what people were asking for.
Hey, straight up, you guys move really quick and you update things super fast. Please take your time.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. So dynamic is still coming along.
Yes, the dynamic part of it is coming soon.
Perfect.
The other change we talked about already in. So our Book of the Dead change is now in. So players have noticed it only appears once at least one teen has died. So they'll always have something for the dead spectrals to hunt around for. We talked quite a bit about possible banishment changes. So we're still experimenting with them, but one of the ones that is sort of leading the pack.
Let me say, super radical, but just let monsters see teens' auras while they're banished. Straight up, bro. Make it like a little 15-second riff, dude. Pace in the game super high, you know. Sorry, I'm being radical today.
In terms of things we're likely to move forward with is creating that scream shockwave when the monster returns from being banished.
And there was a lot of concern, I think, from people that might be too powerful.
Just spawn behind cover, bro.
Too much, and we are testing internally, and we will play test a lot.
Oh my god, both sides see each other? Okay, Sir Monster, so you're saying, like, what if we saw a spectral version of the monster while they're banished? Now that'd be fucking cool.
A lot of it, and make sure it's really balanced to our opinion before we release that. So.
Exactly. And yeah, there's other considerations there. The idea was we want to give a monster feeling of empowerment when they come back. They just lost, I guess, a quarter of their life bar is the way you could view it. And want them to be able to come back and not have to deal with immediately getting banished again if they choose a bad place to spawn.
It's so snowbally if
really
weapons are staggered.
That's a pretty bad place to be. You just
get
banished and you pick a spot you think that might even be safe, not even trying to be aggressive, and get banished again by accident. It's a pretty bad place to be for a monster.
Yes, and we're aware of like always when we think about both sides. So one other adjustment we're thinking of making alongside this is to give it kind of a passive speed increase to team when they're prone, so that monster can't just come back where they thought a team was knocked down. And
oh my god, built-in tenacity. Hold up. Okay, so if you hit the skill checks, you already move pretty quick, but if they're saying base like prone buffs, you're probably gonna be fucking moving. That's cool. This will also be a little indirect buff to that werewolf perk where you can see your slugs on the ground, which I think actually might be kind of viable if this is like your big problem. I'm sorry, a problem as in like it's good, like you can escape really quick, but all the good monsters I know aren't exactly camping. Like, I don't know. You pretty much just control an area of the map where you know a slug is, because that's where the armed teams will go, but like you're not exactly like standing on top of the prone body or anything.
the team wouldn't have been able to make any distance from that spot,
giving you better ability to get out of there.
Get out
so
of the
monster
danger zone. Yeah.
So we'll talk more. There's another feature we're adding to Monster that we'll add to a little bit later, but we can talk. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's go through the next piece.
Yeah, so those are the banished ones. We also talked about our plague system changes, which are in now. So
I do like that.
We have our recharge mechanic was replaced with fetching the plagues from the beyond. I think we've had some really positive feedback on that. Always giving Monster little milestones to work towards.
It's just
burst
fun.
Of power here and there.
I like
some
it.
Concerns I think early on when we announced.
I fucking love when like you get two people slugged and just happen to get agony. That's some of the most broken shit. Dude, I had one team the other day, 2 hits, got my plague from the beyond, agony. The next time I downed them, 2 more hits, so 4 hits total, agony. They just instant died. It was, it was so silly.
The random plagues might not be fun, but I found they've been really good so far. I mean, when you get a perfect plague, it feels great. When you get an average or okay plague that suits your situations, sometimes you get one you can't use right away, but there's still different uses for it. Another thing we talked about was the new busted status, which is already in the game.
Love busted.
Talk a little about that.
So that was put in to help address issues where
also makes it easier to track. Purple chromatic aberrations really hard to miss.
We're running off to heal, and it would just kind of hit and run tactics, and it'd be drawing out games
10
to
plus hit games.
35 plus hits.
35 plus, holy shit!
So,
I never got a 30 hit game still to this day.
Really well.
I had like 29 on Doll Master one time.
Impact on matches not going overly long. Kind of forcing teams to play a little more aggressively and letting the monster wear down teams that are really trying to just turtle up and heal up repeatedly. So
yeah, I've been watching the match times, and the match times have come down significantly. They're much more in the zone we want them to be, and I mean, there's still some matches with some longer gameplay.
Yeah, it still happens.
But I mean, that to me is always a good match. But I know people didn't want to see those really long matches, and we definitely brought them
8
down.
to 20 minutes, I think, is what they want.
Now we're not seeing any really long.
At least in my personal experience, that seems to be the funner matches.
It's been a really healthy change, personally.
Yeah, and we're not done with it. We're always tuning.
Hey, back in closed beta, we would have hour-long matches. Shit was ridiculous, dude.
It, so we're listening to feedback. We'll see if is it the right number of hits. Do we need to make any adjustments? So we're still we're not closing the book on it, but we're happy with how.
Yeah, we're watching it right now. We're seeing how it's balancing in, and we're seeing how gameplay changes every time we.
Yo, sir, I'm a quick fix 3 lightning fast 3 fan, aka if I'm injured, I heal up every single time, and like busted like never bothers me. Like it's really like it's like 6 hits is a lot. Like you have to be under a lot of pressure for 6 hits.
We put something new and everything changes. People adjust, and it takes a while. We need to really make sure it's
we don't want to make too many changes too quickly because we have to see the impact of it. There are a lot of interconnected systems in the game, so we have to make sure that things stay stable
that's so
and fun
true. Everything in the game is connected. If you change one thing, even on monster or teen side, it can have like a ripple effect through so many other systems.
Exactly.
Okay. So I think that was the main systems we talked about in the previous update.
Yeah, and of course Deathwire came out. That was huge. We've been really loving to see the positive response from Deathwire and his design.
Deathwire's sick.
With the Death Drift power not having a cooldown. We have the really fast cooldown and multiple charges on Voltage Vice, the fast cooldown on Beam Matrix. So Deathwire is a really highly available power kit.
I mean, Wart as well, always using buttons, feels very good.
And we've noticed that, the community has been wanting more of that. And so we're definitely taking the lessons from Deathwire to future monster designs, and also as we tune existing monsters. And you've already seen a bit of that with the adjustments we made to Werewolf, who had the longest cooldowns in the game.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest feedback I receive a lot is monsters hated being held hostage to waiting for their cooldowns. So we're trying to address that. Well, Deathwire is much faster with cooldowns, and then we're trying to address that just moving forward with all the other monsters in ways we can to try to speed it up so you're not sitting there waiting for your cooldowns to refresh while the teams are grouping together and doing things. So
exactly. And we're also looking to give monsters more interactivity with the world, which is what we saw with the vending machine change, where you could attack them, take them offline.
All right, dare I say, we know we have Nia, who's a pop demon, right? But even before that change, people would so rarely find the pops and chompies that were lingering on the map, at least in like your average solo queue like public match game. But I think now that it's only vending machines, it's so much easier to find them, and I actually have an easier time getting pops and chompies. So I'm actually curious if they had stats on like how many we're using each game, because I feel like we use them more now. Like I feel like if anything, monsters hitting vending machines kind of buff them. But I guess it also gives them some control. I don't know. I literally loot the same machine like 2 or 3 times. I swear.
Give the monster something. It doesn't really detract from what their main goal is, hunting down the teens, but some secondary objective where they can delay the teens in a more lower stress manner, and if anything, get a bit of stress out by just smacking those machines.
Punching machines. We're also, I mean, the machines are the first implementation of interaction. We're adding some more levels of implementation moving forward. It's like I said, has to come in sort of level and balanced. We can't just throw too many things on at once. So we're putting a system in.
I feel like a better change to like hitting the vending machines would make it to where there's no active vending machine. Like they see a lit one, it's not active for like a minute or whatever the timer is, because there's a timer until it can be relit. So like what if instead of just moving, it just didn't, like there was just no pop available, you know what I mean, or just no chompy. Like that'd be actually really critical, because sometimes teens probably will have to wait it out,
And testing it internally. If we are happy with that test internally, we move it outward as quickly as we can so people can start playing with it. Then we see how, obviously our team is smaller than the community. The community's huge playing it, and we see a lot faster feedback from that. So.
Not for long.
A lot of things we learn just from seeing thousands of people playing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fun watching that first interaction with monsters, because they hate machines that power up in front of them. They just want to punch them and destroy them. Yeah. And it's a risk reward, which is awesome to give the monsters some interaction, but it's not at no cost to them. Like I've seen monsters take time to punch both machines in a row and get killed by a weapon.
Get lured into an ambush.
True, though. True. I've done that a couple times.
Yeah, in addition to the stuff we've already done, there's still a lot of things we want to do.
Actual team buff
to improve monster experience and just improve the game in general.
Yeah, a lot of things we're testing right now.
Exactly.
Internally, some things we like, some things we don't like, but we're testing a lot and building a lot right now. So do you have some stuff we can talk about there?
Yeah. So monster perks, for example, we hear like there are only 12 at the moment, so
there's only 3 actually.
So, obviously, there was fewer monster perks than there were team perks, because we had fewer monsters.
Easy target, demoralize, screenfest.
Also, issues where certain monster perks didn't feel as powerful or as impactful as we'd like. So we already saw a bit of improvements.
I don't have enough points for Revolt,
changes, bro. But can expect more of those kind of changes for some of the lesser used monster perks. We want to make sure that all of them
technically
have a place in the game, and that they're enjoyable to use. But also, monster players would want some more versatility in how many perks they can equip. So
everyone was monster players were a little frustrated that teens get discounts, monsters don't get discounts.
So
and there was a reason for that, because
there
monsters are completely unique.
Yes.
And teens have specialties. So
okay, look at them. I was actually, everyone brings this up when it comes to the perks.
So
why don't monsters have affinities? So I'm actually really happy that they pointed that out.
Specialty perks, they were meant to be universal for all monsters, but it still is nice to have something you can earn at the end of each act, and allows you to have a bit more perk points to work with.
A little more flexibility in your build.
Exactly. You can squeeze in some more lower cost perks to round out your build. So one thing we're working towards is adding perk discounts for monsters. So
the way let's
is
go.
actually complete each monster act in their journey.
Meet when I may all-consuming work,
works similar to the potential discount you get on teens, except this one will apply to any perk you equip and will give you 2 points off of that perk's cost.
Okay, instead of 3.
So essentially, once you're maxed out in monster, you'll actually have 36 points to work with rather than 30, which will easily let you fit in another rank 1 perk or maybe a higher rank of an existing perk that you really like, just to give monster more flexibility. And I think that'll be even more enjoyable as the perk pool for monster continues to grow.
Yeah, I think that'll be a really good change.
Yeah, that's coming soon. We're also looking at some problematic hitboxes with the beam weapons. So we have situations where the monster would get attacked from there was just a small gap in a box or something, or the cover isn't working quite as much as it should. So
not as we intended.
Yeah, there's these little cracks.
Avatoro's mentioned this, especially on the Eviscerator. There's things that look like cover, but then there's little tiny. I am sad that they're not mentioning the cursed sword going through corners, because now that that's come to my attention literally yesterday, it's annoying the hell out of me. I had no idea the cursed sword just passes through completely solid corners sometimes. That shit needs to be touched. I mean, cursed sword has been pretty busted forever. I mean, if you're fighting a cursed sword, even as wart, it takes like 30, 40 more seconds than fighting literally any other weapon. It's crazy.
Cracks and so we're looking at adjusting the way beam weapons work so that they require a wider space to actually shoot through.
And we made some adjustments specifically to the holy staff, because it still was being held very high. So now we have it more aimed forward, and that more aimed animation looks great, but it also solves that problem where people are in the warehouse and they're just peeking over the top edge of the stairs and hitting the monster in a spot where the monster really can't see the teen at all. So
yeah, exactly. We want to avoid those kind of cheesy feeling interactions. But there's more weapon adjustments than that we're looking at. So some of the weapons, especially we're looking at, again, I don't want to go into too many details here, but we are looking at some of the solar flare issues, Cursed Sword, and Infernal Eye. Those are the ones we think identified as they could use a little more tuning.
Yeah, I think
3
a lot of people have mentioned
best weapons in the game, straight up.
Being out of balance, and we're listening to that.
So
I think
good.
Overall, our weapon balance is pretty good.
I think Shock Sphere's better, sorry, but that shit's already been nerfed a ton. But Cursed Sword untouched, Flare untouched, and I'm telling you, Eye is the best weapon in the game, straight up. It is the scariest thing as monster. There's just nothing you can do about it if you're being scouted or there's some basic weapon stalling you or something.
But obviously, there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, and I mean the meta changes. People play differently, and they start using.
Discover new things.
I mean, I remember when some of these weapons were introduced, and people thought they had no use, and now they're finding they're too powerful. So it's an interesting. Now we're making changes based off of what we learned over time. So.
Exactly. So the only way to learn it is to just have thousands of players playing it over thousands of hours to get to see what it was.
Hey, the hours are true though. We be putting hours on this game.
Another thing we're looking at is so again, it's been talked about a lot in the community with ambushes from teams.
Oh my God, Lordly and I have the same ring. Did you see that? Are we both tungsten boys?
With
oh my God, we are. I'm pretty sure this is Lordly. If it's not Lordly, I'm sorry. But look, we're twins, dude.
With ambushes from teens. So one thing we've been playing with many ideas. We've been hearing feedback on ideas. We're definitely listening. But again, it's a delicate system. We have to make sure that teens have viable counterplay options, even when they're by themselves. And they can sometimes be completely by themselves if all the other teams are dead.
Every single game.
There is an issue where, with certain weapons, you can be really, really quiet near the monster, and they'll have no idea you're there, and then you pop out and hit them. So we are looking at adding some passive ambient sound cues to certain weapons. So you're holding across, you're hiding in a corner somewhere. The monster, if they're close enough, will be able to tell that there's someone there with a weapon.
Bro, you're approaching a corner. There's a cross there. You just hear, oh, or you just hear, oh, man, no.
And yes, that won't be the only weapon. There'll be quite a few of the weapons are going to be
The worst case is someone is hiding within 15 feet of the monster and pops up behind the desk or something. That's the worst case because the monster really has no way to react. They have no sound cue. They get that ambush, and it doesn't feel like it's it feels like it's an opportunity-based kill rather than a skill-based kill. It's more of a wait and camp to kill someone. But
camping,
I mean,
cringe.
monsters seem to do well against things that are projectiles from a distance. Anytime they have an awareness that there's someone around. So we're trying to give some sort of awareness, but also not make it. The one thing we won't do is we won't ever identify a teen that has no weapon. We're not gonna make noise
unarmed
for the teen.
teens,
Other than
perma-ratio.
the breathing is a giveaway. When people get close enough, they can hear it.
And especially when they're injured.
So what do you think for a noise? Do you think it would be, how would it compare to like breathing? Would it be loud, like distance-wise, volume-wise?
For breathing, you can hear if they're uninjured out to about 4 meters. It starts to get really quiet. When you're injured, it goes out to like 10 meters. So we're thinking of somewhere in between those two for those weapons.
Another reason I'm a quick fix fan. There ain't no way you're gonna ambush a monster when you're injured. Straight up.
So you won't be as loud as if you're an injured teen, but you'll definitely be easier to hear than if you were uninjured.
So if you're an injured teen with a valuable weapon, you're going to be...
Yeah, hopefully it'll just be as loud as your injured teen.
Sure.
But yes, that's the idea. Other thing we're looking at is just more of a pain point for monster. Consecutive stuns are going to be having diminishing return on the second stun
we talked about this
so
the other day.
The monster won't be down for a really, really long time if they're stunned repeatedly, because it didn't feel great.
People can use 2 to 3 weapons to hold a monster in position if they time them well. They can do it to just grief the monster, but they can also do it to bring someone with the weapon to the monster.
I have had stuns, like chain
longer
stuns,
than the
perfectly stalled.
So so there's basically
a griefing thing you can do.
You get a bit of a shortened stun each time you get consecutive.
So it probably won't be useful to do
if
it.
the monster's up and attacking, you can stun them again. You'll still get.
And that's only, I imagine, in a short window. It's not, it's not going to just doesn't linger on. If you wait 3 seconds, basically you're back to a normal stun.
Okay, interesting.
You can stun the monster again.
So you can chain them. You can chain them pretty okay.
Another thing we're looking at, just to improve monster toolkit, is giving them the ability to lay their own pings. So the idea would be, okay, well, if you're pinging, who are you pinging for? And this would be basically leaving markers for yourself. So there are definitely times where it's strategic for.
Remember we were talking about how body count could like be a good perk now? Nah, we don't need body count, bro. We slug someone, we just put a sticker there.
Monster to make note of a certain location. For example, if they spot the Book of the Dead after it's appeared on the map. If they've seen a teen at a crafting station, they want to remember that teen was there and then come back to revisit it later, because teens often will go
It's
back
actually
to,
pretty cool. I like
finish
this.
off a weapon after they've been chased away.
Definitely didn't think of it
No matter
either.
what percentage they've earned on a station, they don't want to give that.
Yeah, they don't want to give it up. They
that
gotta
lost cost
finish
fallacy that they think it's worth crafting there. I mean, maybe it is, but it depends where you were at it with. But I catch myself a lot of times running back to the same station. I get back there thinking I've got good progress, and I've only got about a third done on the weapon, and
And other situations, say there's a dead teen, you must, they might get chosen to be revived, so I'm going to leave a marker here. So the monster leave.
That's
quite
actually
a few
really
markers
good
on the
too.
map.
Yeah.
They'll be visible through the wall, so they can basically have these reference points, just to give monster another, to ease the burden of memory on them and give them just another tool they
more
can use.
Casual monster experience. I'm about it.
Well,
and that's why we're increasing the speed also of movement for teens when they're down. So if the monster does leave a ping, the teens won't be aware if there's a ping placed.
No, they won't see
If they
them.
leave a self ping like that, then the teens know that they could be marked. So they might want.
Prone,
they can't mark the teen. They can mark the location.
Exactly.
But the teen has a faster prone speed, so they can get away from
they
there.
Can crawl
and,
away from there if they suspect.
Not when the minute they pop up, have a monster appear on top of them, right? So.
Exactly. And there's plenty more that we're looking at. This is basically what we want to cover in this one update.
Yeah.
But there's definitely stay tuned for more changes moving forward.
Great. Like I said, we're doing this a lot more often, and we know that we've been too quiet because we're just busy working on the next thing. We're making it a regular part of our schedule now to give updates, a lot more video updates, because I think it's faster, more immediate, and you can sort of understand. We can talk through more of the issues. We'll probably at some point take some questions. We're just starting this.
Yeah.
So it's a learning process for us. But that's our first update, and look forward to one again coming up soon. Thanks, Jeff.
No problem.
I love Jeff. Thank you so much, Hellbent and Video Horror Society. People awesome.